you don't lose your peace all at once. You lose it in small, quiet moments, laughing with people who don't respect you, arguing over things that don't matter, defending yourself to those who already decided who you are. And before you realize it, your energy is drained, your focus is scattered, and your life feels heavier than it should. The truth is, most people don't destroy their lives through big mistakes. They do it through poor choices in who they keep close and what they choose to fight for. And that's where Stoicism hits hard. Not everything deserves your presence, and not everyone deserves access to you. There's a dangerous illusion people live under, the idea that loyalty means staying connected to everyone you've known, no matter how they treat you. But Stoicism doesn't reward blind loyalty. It rewards awareness. The people you surround yourself with either sharpen your mind or slowly dull it. There is no neutral. If you're constantly around negativity, gossip, jealousy, or drama, you won't stay unaffected, you'll absorb it. You might think you're strong enough to resist it, but over time, it changes your thinking, your standards, even your self-worth. Choosing your friends wisely isn't about being cold, it's about protecting your direction in life. A lot of people confuse being nice with being wise. They keep giving their time, their attention, and their energy to people who don't reciprocate it. They answer every call, entertain every complaint, and show up for people who wouldn't do the same for them. Stoicism teaches something different. Your energy is a limited resource. Every conversation, every interaction, every relationship costs you something. And if you don't start being selective, you'll spend your energy on people and situations that give you nothing back but stress. Now, here's where it gets uncomfortable. Sometimes the people holding you back aren't enemies. They're familiar faces, old friends, even people you've shared history with. But history alone is not a reason to stay connected. Just because someone has been in your life for years doesn't mean they deserve to stay in your future. Stoicism reminds us to judge relationships based on who people are now, not who they used to be. If someone consistently brings chaos, negativity, or distraction into your life, keeping them close is a decision, and it's one that has consequences. But choosing your friends is only half the battle. The other half is choosing your battles. Because even if you surround yourself with the right people, you can still destroy your peace by fighting the wrong fights. Not every disagreement deserves a response. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. The average person reacts to everything. They defend every point, argue every opinion, and try to prove themselves in every situation. But Stoicism flips that completely. Strength is not found in reaction. It's found in restraint. Think about how much time gets wasted arguing with people who aren't even open to changing their minds. You explain yourself over and over, hoping they'll finally understand. But they don't. Not because your point is weak, but because they're not listening to understand. They're listening to respond. Stoicism teaches a simple but powerful truth. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Walking away is not weakness, it's control. It's the ability to recognize when something is not worth your energy. There's also a hidden cost to fighting every battle. It keeps you emotionally tied to things that don't matter. Every argument you engage in stays in your mind long after it's over. You replay it, rethink it, wish you said something different. And while you're stuck in that loop, your focus is gone. Your goals get pushed aside. Your peace disappears. The Stoic approach is different. They ask one question before engaging. Will this matter in a week, a month, a year? And if the answer is no, they don't waste their energy on it. What makes this even more powerful is that when you stop reacting to everything, people start to see you differently. You become harder to provoke, harder to manipulate, harder to drain. And that changes your position completely. People who used to pull you into drama will either adjust or they'll distance themselves. And either way, you win. Because you're no longer operating at their level of chaos. You're operating from control. There's a level of discipline required to live like this. It's not easy to stay silent when you feel disrespected. It's not easy to walk away when your ego wants to prove a point. But Stoicism isn't about doing what feels good in the moment. It's about doing what protects your long-term peace. Every time you choose not to react, you're building control. Every time you choose distance over drama, you're protecting your future. And here's the part most people don't realize. When you combine these two principles, choosing your friends and choosing your battles, your life becomes significantly lighter. There's less noise, less stress, less unnecessary conflict. You start to think clearer, move smarter, focus deeper, because you're no longer surrounded by distractions or pulled into meaningless fights. You're intentional about where your time and energy go. Most people spend years trying to fix their lives by adding more effort, more hustle, more strategies. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. It's not always about adding. It's about removing the wrong people, removing unnecessary conflicts, removing the need to prove yourself. And once you start doing that, everything else becomes easier. But here's where it becomes even more real. When you start choosing your friends wisely and your battles carefully, you're going to feel a shift that most people aren't prepared for. It gets quieter, not just around you, but inside you. And at first, that silence can feel uncomfortable. You're used to the noise, the constant interaction, the back and forth of opinions and emotions. Without it, you might even question if you're becoming distant or too different. But what's really happening is this. You're no longer being pulled in 10 different directions. You're finally standing still long enough to hear your own thoughts clearly. And when that clarity comes, you start noticing things you used to ignore. You begin to see how certain people only show up when they need something. You realize how often conversations revolve around negativity, complaints, or things that don't move your life forward. You notice how some people subtly compete with you instead of supporting you. Stoicism sharpens your awareness in a way that makes it hard to go back to being unconscious. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that awareness forces a decision. Either you keep tolerating it or you start creating distance. There's also a deeper layer to this that most people avoid confronting, the role your ego plays in all of it. Sometimes you keep certain people around not because they're good for you, but because they validate a version of you that feels comfortable. Maybe they agree with everything you say. Maybe they make you feel superior. Maybe they remind you of who you used to be. But Stoicism challenges you to let go of that comfort if it's not aligned with growth. Because comfort can be just as dangerous as conflict. It keeps you stuck in a place that feels familiar, but limits who you can become. Now let's talk about battles again, but from a different angle. Not the loud arguments, but the silent ones. The internal battles. The urge to prove yourself. The need to be liked. The pressure to respond immediately. These are the battles that drain you the most because no one else sees them, but they're constantly running in the background. Stoicism teaches you to step back and question those impulses. Do you really need to prove this point? Do you really need this person's approval? Or are you reacting out of habit? What you'll start to realize is that many of the battles you've been fighting were never necessary to begin with. They were emotional reactions, not strategic decisions. And once you see that, you gain something powerful, the ability to pause. That pause becomes your advantage. While others react instantly, you observe. While others escalate situations, you de-escalate them. And in that space between stimulus and response, you take back control of your life. There's also a quiet strength that develops when you stop engaging in unnecessary conflict. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to prove it. People can feel it. It shows in how you carry yourself, how you respond or don't respond to situations that used to trigger you. And this is where things begin to shift in your favor. Because when you're not constantly reacting, you're able to think strategically. You start making decisions based on logic, not emotion. And that alone puts you ahead of most people. At the same time, your circle starts to refine itself naturally. You don't have to force people out or make dramatic exits. When you change your standards, your environment adjusts. People who thrive on drama, negativity, or constant validation will find less access to you, and eventually they'll drift away. Meanwhile, the right people, the ones who value growth, discipline, and peace, will become more visible. They may not be as loud or as many, but they'll be far more aligned with where you're going. And here's something most people overlook. When you stop fighting every battle, you actually become more effective in the ones that matter. Because now your energy isn't scattered. You're not exhausted from constant conflict. You're focused, intentional, sharp. So when a real challenge comes, something that truly affects your life, your values, or your future, you show up fully prepared. Not emotionally drained, but mentally clear. This is the difference between reacting and choosing. Most people react to life. They respond to whatever comes their way without filtering it. But Stoicism teaches you to choose. Choose who gets your time. Choose what deserves your attention. Choose which battles are worth your energy. And that level of choice creates a completely different life, one that's not controlled by external noise, but guided by internal discipline. And once you begin to live like this, something else happens. You stop taking things personally. You understand that people act based on their own mindset, their own struggles, their own limitations. Not everything is about you. Not every comment is a personal attack. Not every disagreement is a threat. And that realization frees you in a way that most people never experience. Because when you stop taking everything personally, you stop giving everything power over you. And when you finally step back and look at your life through this lens, it becomes clear. Peace isn't something you find, it's something you protect. Every person you allow close to you, and every battle you choose to engage in, either strengthens that peace or slowly takes it away. There's no middle ground. The quality of your life is shaped by what you tolerate, who you keep around, and what you give your energy to. Most people never take control of that. They just react, absorb, and carry the weight of choices they never questioned. But you don't have to live like that. Stoicism doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be intentional, to stop moving through life on autopilot and start making conscious decisions about where your time, energy, and attention go. Because once you do, everything changes. You become calmer, sharper, harder to disturb. You stop chasing approval and start building self-respect. You stop proving yourself to the wrong people and start investing in what actually moves your life forward. And that's where real power begins, not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. So here's the challenge. Start paying attention. Look at the people in your circle and ask yourself honestly, do they push me forward or hold me back? Look at the situations you keep getting pulled into and ask, is this worth my peace? And then have the discipline to act on your answers. Not emotionally, not impulsively, but with clarity and control. If this message hit you, if you felt that moment of realization, then don't just scroll past it. Use it. Because awareness without action changes nothing. Start applying it today, even in small ways. Choose one unnecessary battle to walk away from. Create distance where you know it's needed. Protect your energy like it actually matters, because it does. And if you want more content like this, real, unfiltered truths that help you think clearer, move smarter, and take control of your life, make sure you subscribe to PsychoVest, turn on notifications, and stay connected, because the more you train your mind, the less the world controls you.